like to ask Director Alidi to take us through the details of the new design.
Sure. First, I'd like to thank the governor and the mayor for the leadership that they exercised here in directing both the city's departments and DOT to this solution. Without that kind of strong leadership, this kind of solution doesn't just happen. I'm going to bring you through a couple of the reasons, of course, that we're all here, and you're all familiar with them. We've all been there. For the last 30 years, this has been a problem that has been plaguing both the city of Providence and the state of Rhode Island. There are 9 bridges in this complex of this interchange. 7 of them are structurally deficient. During the last year, as you know, we had 5 critical findings. Those were structural findings of critical problems. This is a picture of one where one of the temporary braces that was over 15 years old was deteriorated to the point where it was about to collapse onto the northeast corridor. The temporary shoring, as I said, is 15 years old. And the state has been having to spend on the order of $4.5 million a year just to keep it in a safe condition. All of that coupled with the fact that on a regional basis, 100,000 trips per day go over this interchange. That encompass a wide region. So the good news is that this will be able to be repaired as a result of the work that the governor and the legislature did last year in providing $400 million of funding that is ready now for us to begin to spend on this project as a result of the roadworks legislation. I'm going to go over a few of the regional transportation and infrastructure improvements that we're going to make, and then I'm going to turn it over to Bonnie Nickerson to talk about some of the improvements that we've collaborated on making for the city of Providence. First of all, the complex here of interchanges and overpasses and entrance and exit ramps creates a certain set of conditions. The existing highway is built on 3 different layers. The top layer is the expressway that runs north-south on Route 10, and is the southerly direction of Route 10. The next layer are 2 bridges on Westminster and Broadway that connect the West Broadway area with the Orneville neighborhood. And then at the lower level are the lanes that carry the Route 10 traffic from Cranston into Providence in a northerly direction. One of the conditions that we looked at was not only the expense of rebuilding, particularly this top level of construction that gets relatively expensive, but also creates a visual barrier between West Broadway and Orneville. In addition to the barrier that it creates and the expense of rebuilding something that high up, there is a problem that's associated with the weaving of traffic as drivers entered Route 10 from Harris Avenue and try to make their way over to Route 10 traveling south, and the drivers that are coming from downtown Providence on that same roadway weaving across that traffic to get to Route 6 heading west. In addition to that traffic problem, there is a missing link that the mayor referred to and the governor referred to that never got built, that takes people from the Cranston area heading north on Route 10 to Route 6. Today, people have to get off the freeway, go through city streets, either through Orneville or other city roads, to get back on to Route 6 west. So those are the 3 major conditions that, from a transportation standpoint, we're looking to solve while maintaining the regional significance of this project and getting 100,000 vehicles per day where they have to go. Next. The solution is the plan that you see here. We've lowered the elevation of the entire infrastructure so that the north to south and the south to north links on Route 10 are all at grade down at a lower level. And the second level still exists on Broadway and Westminster Street. Next. We've created the link in this design that allows for the westward move that the governor referred to. We've done it in a way that's very efficient. Our engineers worked on a plan to incorporate the westward move into the reconstruction of the Westminster Street Bridge. So we accomplished two missions with the same bridge reconstruction, which would have had to be reconstructed anyway. And it's all done on dedicated lanes with no stoplights and without having to enter onto the city grid. Next. In addition to that, we've created two separate lanes of travel on the Route 10 south direction. One set of lanes will bring you on dedicated lanes onto Route 6 west, and another set of lanes will take you onto Route 10 south, so that none of the weaving and congestion associated with those weaves will be eliminated. That congestion will be eliminated. Next. In addition to that, we spoke of the visual barrier between the West Broadway and the Orneville area. That condition exists both here on the Westminster Street Bridge and also on the one on Broadway, where this high level, this is that third level of infrastructure that I was talking to, that under the new plan will be eliminated. So everything will be built down on grade underneath this Westminster Street Bridge that you see in front of you here. It'll open up the vistas and the visual connection between the two communities. And when it's completed, it'll incorporate into it new pedestrian features, new bike features, and in a dedicated separate lane on the other side of this barrier here are the dedicated lanes that make the westward move possible without entering onto city streets. Next. We're going to turn it over to Bonnie Nickerson now to talk about some of the features that we added to this design to accomplish some of what the city of Providence was looking to accomplish.
Thanks, Director. So, as the Director said, about over a mile, 1.4 miles of new bike paths will be part of this project. These are off-road dedicated bike paths that link two regional bike networks together. As we know, the Washington Secondary Path is just to the south and west of here, and the Woonasquatucket River Greenway is just to the north and west of this location. So Olneyville Square has always been sort of a donut hole in the regional bike network. So this project really fixes that. So these red lines on the plan indicate where those new bike connections are. So as you can see, a dedicated bike path runs along the edge of the highway, but also crosses at Westminster, at Broadway, continues north, and then crosses at Toby Street. So there's a new cross-neighborhood connection at Toby Street. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Next slide. So there's about 5 acres total of reclaimed highway right-of-way land that we can repurpose for neighborhood redevelopment. Those are in two different districts. About 1.5 acres of land is reclaimed in this area here. So this is along Harris Avenue, where this currently is a highway on-ramp. That will be removed, and these two parcels here, as well as this green parcel here, are all new highway right-of-way land that can be repurposed for neighborhood development. In addition, these two neighborhood streets will be reconnected to connect into Harris Avenue, which helps to recreate that city grid. So the other area that's just just to the west of this slide is the Plainfield on-ramp. So currently there is a highway access from Plainfield Street into sort of the heart of the 610 connector area. That area is going to be redeveloped as neighborhood land, that the neighborhood streets will be stitched back together and additional parcels of land will be redeveloped. That's about 3.5 acres of development. And this area that we've highlighted here on the plan that you can see here in this sort of beige color is identifying almost 25 acres of redevelopment land that the city is going to pursue as a future redevelopment area. And what allows for that is 2 new connections will be made from the Olneyville Square, Dyke Street area south to Silver Lake. The first piece of that is going to be constructed as part of this development project, which is this road here. It connects right along the Amtrak line here and connects the streets in Olneyville to Silver Lake in that direct connection here. This is an existing connection at Troy Street, and at Agnes Street, the project will be built to not preclude that city street to be built in the future. This is private land on either side of that street, but our future redevelopment plan calls for connecting Agnes Street through, so we'll have 2 new connections from Silver Lake into Olneyville Square. This is one of the most exciting parts of the plan from the city's point of view, which is really reopening what is now the Toby Street on-ramp to be a true neighborhood scaled city street. So this will be, cars will be able to access from Federal Hill to the Harris Avenue area. This is a 2-way city street, but it also provides access to the highway. So as you're crossing over Toby Street, you'll be able to turn and head onto the highway, as the director indicated previously, or you'll be able to turn right and head onto Harris Avenue. The other important part about this is it creates a dedicated bike and pedestrian crossing at Toby Street, which ends into a new green space on the other side of the highway. So this yellow line here indicates how bikes and pedestrians will cross this new connection. So when we talked about some of the goals for this project, connecting neighborhoods was really number 1, and we're really excited about this new connection from Federal Hill to the Harris Avenue area. The other thing worth noting here is Toby Street today, through the Federal Hill neighborhood, functions as a highway on-ramp. With the redesign of this project, we can return Toby Street into a true neighborhood street, and that's really exciting for us as well. And I think we are ending here on this rendering. As the director said, the visual impact of the highway through this project is going to be significantly reduced, and I don't think we can overemphasize that. It's a significant benefit to the city, to the neighborhoods, and to connect these communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie.